She ignored you like you were replaceable, left your messages unread like your presence meant nothing. While you lost sleep, she gained ego. But here's the truth no one tells you. The most powerful revenge is never spoken. It's earned in silence. It's felt in your transformation. This isn't just another video, it's your wake-up call. You're about to learn the 5 silent moves that will not only make her regret ever ghosting you, but will turn every ounce of your pain into power. Every second you keep watching pulls you closer to the man she never saw coming. If you're tired of feeling weak, overlooked, disrespected, lock in now. Your breakthrough starts right here. Comment, "I'm done being ignored," if you're ready to evolve and become unforgettable. Number 1. Cut off all access. Cutting off all access isn't about punishing her, it's about preserving yourself. It's the first move in reclaiming your dignity, rebuilding your sense of direction, and giving her what she never thought she'd feel from you: emptiness. When you get ignored, ghosted, breadcrumbed, strung along like some emotional option she taps into when she's bored, what do you really think happens if you keep showing up in her inbox, lurking in her stories, liking her pictures, reacting with emojis to a woman who's turned you into an afterthought? She doesn't respect it. She expects it. And worse, she becomes comfortable knowing she can step on your presence, ignore your energy, and still feel your loyalty. That ends today. From this moment on, you take back control. Not by explaining yourself, not by begging for clarity, not by chasing closure, but by disappearing without a farewell. When you cut off access, you do it clean, silent, and permanent. You delete the number, archive the photos, burn the bridge. No tracking, no waiting, no second chances. Because the first lesson every man has to learn in modern relationships is this: you don't get respect by staying available. You get walked over. You lose the power to influence when you keep broadcasting your emotional availability to someone who's never invested in understanding your value. So stop it. Start becoming a ghost in her universe. Don't block her out of spite. Block her out of necessity. She needs to feel the absence. You need to stop feeling the weight of proving your worth. There's no pride in being accessible to someone who gave you nothing but confusion. That version of you, the one who texts at midnight hoping she'll reply, who over-explains himself, who double texts and stays on read, is gone. And if he's not, you kill him today. No half measures. No, maybe she'll change. You go dark. Because what most men don't realize is that when you stop being visible, she starts becoming curious. When you stop chasing, she starts questioning. When your name disappears from her views, her likes, her feed, she begins to feel something she never associated with you before: the absence of attention. And that absence breeds discomfort. Discomfort breeds reflection. Reflection leads to regret. But only if you do it right. Only if your silence is paired with discipline. The discipline to not look back, to not give updates, to not find excuses to message her. To do this, you must redesign your environment. Get her off your feed. Get rid of the pictures, the playlists, the texts. Stop talking about her to friends. Stop seeking advice. Cut the ties. Because every time you talk about her, scroll her feed, or dream of what if, you lose leverage. You must act like she doesn't exist. Because right now, in your world, she shouldn't. She lost access to you. Not because you're playing games, not because you want to make her miss you, but because access to you is earned, and she failed. You want to get serious? Build a list today. Write down everything that keeps you attached to her: physical, digital, emotional, and eliminate it. Delete, burn, block, unfollow, disengage. The pain will scream at first, yes, but pain fades. What stays is the new energy you get back from not checking your phone every 5 minutes. That mental space, that clarity, that's power. And you use it not to get her back, but to rebuild you. Because the man you're becoming doesn't wait to be chosen. He chooses himself. Let her wonder. Let her ask mutual friends if you're okay. Let her sit in silence, not because you made her feel small, but because you finally grew too big for her games. The men who win don't play on emotional playgrounds designed for control, confusion, and emotional sabotage. They walk out. They leave the playground behind. She thought she had time, thought she had access to your kindness forever, and maybe you gave her too many chances before, but not anymore, because the man you are now, he's invisible to disrespect. He's untouchable by women who used to weaponize their silence against him. He's done offering explanations. The access she once had, gone, without warning, without closure, without noise. That's the move she never saw coming, and the one she'll never forget. Cut off all access, not for her, for you. And as you begin cutting off all access, as you pull your energy back and take your power with you, you'll need a guide, a real blueprint. That's why I created the Stoic Relationship Blueprint, linked for you in the comments. It's the manual for men who are done begging for clarity, done waiting for respect, and done living on emotional autopilot. It answers the questions that keep you up at night. Why does she pull away when I give my all? How do I detach without turning cold? How do I rebuild my mind, my habits, my life, without losing myself again? This is wisdom you don't just read, you own. You download it once, and it's yours for life. Reopen it when you're tempted to chase. Reread it when the silence gets loud. Keep it in your pocket when the world tries to pull you off track. This isn't just a book, it's your armor. Number 2, grow beyond her reach. You want to know the secret that truly flips the script. It's not revenge, it's not confrontation. It's not sending her a paragraph about how she made you feel or asking her why she changed. It's growth, but not the growth you post about or flex in conversations. I'm talking about the kind of personal expansion that happens so quietly, so ruthlessly, so consistently, that she realizes the version of you she dismissed has vanished, and what stands in his place is unreachable. You don't grow just to feel better. You grow so hard and so far that even if she came crawling back, the gap between who you are and who she once knew is so wide she wouldn't know where to begin. But most men don't do this. They get stuck trying to prove something. They work on themselves, sure, but it's performative. They still wonder what she's doing, who she's with, if she'll notice their changes. That's not growth. That's insecurity with a gym membership. Growth is what happens when you stop performing and start becoming. So look at where you are right now. Be brutally honest. What have you tolerated? Where have you been soft with your time, your mind, your boundaries? When's the last time you did something for your future that wasn't driven by emotional pain, but by real vision? Growth starts when you choose purpose over pity. So yes, hit the gym, but not for aesthetics. Train because you respect your vessel. Start a side hustle, not to look successful on social media, but to build financial autonomy that no woman, no job, no situation can ever shake. Learn skills, real ones, not just tricks to impress her, but tools that make you indispensable in your industry, your circle, your life. Fix your diet, fix your sleeping habits, audit your friends, audit your inputs, what you read, what you watch, who you follow. You grow beyond her reach when the life you live no longer overlaps with the places she can see or understand. That's the key. She can't regret losing you if she still has access to the same energy. You have to become alien to her old version of you. You have to become uncomfortable for her to even approach. When she sees you now, it shouldn't remind her of what you used to be. It should make her question if she ever knew you at all. You walk different. You talk with weight. You move with purpose. You no longer explain yourself. You no longer seek closure. You've become so dialed in, so focused on your elevation, that even if she got curious, she wouldn't even know what to say. This is what happens when you grow beyond her reach. And let's be clear, this isn't about her anymore. It starts with her, yes, the disrespect, the ghosting, the dismissal, but it ends with you. You're the reason you rise. You're the reason the next woman will have to earn your energy. Because the man you're becoming doesn't chase affection. He attracts alignment. He doesn't react emotionally. He calculates moves like a man with options. The pain you felt? Use it. Not to destroy her, but to rebuild you. And while you build, don't announce. Don't post gym selfies. Don't share your business goals with the world. Keep it quiet. Let your new life speak. Let your new peace echo. Let your name carry a weight it never did before. And when she hears about you, it'll be too late. She won't recognize the man people now respect. She'll ask around. He's different now. And she'll feel it. Not because you made her feel bad, but because you made yourself too good for the version of her that once had you. Growth hurts. It's lonely. It'll feel like isolation at first, but that's the cost. If you want to outgrow her, you have to outgrow everything that allowed her access. That means outgrowing your need for validation, outgrowing emotional reactivity, outgrowing weak habits and excuses, outgrowing the version of you who settled. And you know who that is. That version who waited for her texts, who cancelled plans to see her, who lost sleep over her silence. He's gone. And in his place is someone she'll regret underestimating. So write it down, your daily disciplines, your financial targets, your body transformation, your goals in vivid detail. Break them into non-negotiables. Execute with militant focus. You're not doing this for her attention. You're doing it because life demands your full potential. And any woman who ever made you question your value becomes irrelevant in the face of your evolution. Grow so far she can't catch up. Grow so far your past becomes a stranger. Grow so far that you stop looking back, not because you're bitter, but because your future is too consuming. That's how you grow beyond her reach. Number 3. Let her regret the silence. Letting her regret the silence starts by never reacting to it. That means no follow-up texts, no late-night calls, no checking her stories, no sending mutual friends to ask if she's okay. You don't need confirmation. You already have your answer. The moment she went silent, she declared her position, her comfort in not choosing you, in ignoring you, in making you optional. So now the ball is in your court, and your next move isn't to break your pride, it's to protect it. You don't fight disrespect with confrontation. You fight it by becoming untraceable to the one who underestimated your absence. Here's the truth most men avoid admitting. When she falls silent, most guys start performing. They start spiraling. They start flooding her inbox with apologies, over-explaining their value, reaching, hoping, negotiating with self-worth. And every time you do that, you cheapen yourself. You become a puppet whose strings are pulled by someone who didn't even send a warning before disappearing. The moment she goes silent and you don't, is the moment you give her all the power. So you stop. You don't punish her. You don't blame her. You disappear mentally, emotionally, physically, because now it's not about her anymore. It's about everything in your life that suffered while you tried to make sense of mixed signals. It's about the time you spent decoding her games instead of building yourself into someone who doesn't need a woman to feel like a man. You let her regret the silence by giving it space to echo. You let the silence become so loud, so deafening, that she's forced to face what she threw away. Not because you told her, but because your lack of reaction triggered her deepest fear: irrelevance. And that's where the regret begins. Regret doesn't show up when you chase. It shows up when you vanish, improve, and don't return. It grows in the dark, in the confusion, in the uncertainty she never expected from you. She thought you'd wait. She thought you'd break. She thought your love was stronger than your self-respect. She thought wrong. You let her sit in that silence. You give her nothing, no closure, no validation, no explanation, no emotional feedback loop. And while she tries to rationalize why you haven't reached out, why you've gone quiet, why you're not watching her stories anymore, your life starts glowing, not loudly, not for social media, but privately, with daily progress, new habits, new focus. You invest in that business idea. You get back to the gym and push past limits you'd forgotten. You read books you never made time for. You grind, you build, you move differently, and she feels it. Not through your words, but through the silence. That's the part that stings the most, because she expected the old version of you to still be standing by, waiting for a response, waiting for a chance, waiting for a window to reopen. But now the door is locked, and she doesn't even know where the key went. Let that happen, because that's how regret is born. Not through arguments, not through closure texts, not through explanations. It's born when a woman realizes she can't access you anymore, not physically, not emotionally, not even digitally. When the man who used to give everything now gives nothing, the shift is undeniable. She'll try to fill the gap with distractions, maybe another guy, maybe parties, maybe a few photos to bait a reaction. But you won't bite, you won't even notice, because your vision now reaches beyond the games. And as you keep rising, her silence transforms into discomfort. Her discomfort transforms into reflection. Her reflection transforms into regret. That's when she'll send that first message. Maybe it's just a, hey, maybe it's a like on a post, maybe it's a fake check-in. You don't reply, or if you do, it's short, cold, dignified. You show no resentment, you show no emotion, you show evolution, because this isn't about playing hard to get. This is about no longer being available to people who vanished when you were fully present. You want her to regret the silence. Make sure that by the time she breaks it, you've become someone she no longer qualifies for. That's the move. That's the justice. Not revenge, transformation. And if she regrets it, that's on her. Your job is to be so locked in on your purpose that nothing she could say, post, or send could pull you back to the version of you she thought she left behind. Number 4. Rebuild without revenge. Rebuilding without revenge is one of the highest forms of emotional strength, and the moment you understand this, you step into a league most men never reach. Because what you want right now is to be seen. You want her to realize what she gave up. You want her to feel it. You want the tables to turn. You want her scrolling through your life, jaw clenched, regretting every time she undervalued you. But here's the uncomfortable truth. The moment you start doing anything with the goal of making her regret losing you, you've already lost your power. Why? Because your actions are still controlled by her. That's not freedom. That's bondage dressed in progress. That's just another chain, one made of likes, gym selfies, flex posts, and captions that scream, "I'm doing better," even though you're still acting from the same pain. So this is where the shift begins. You don't rebuild to hurt her. You rebuild to outgrow her. You don't need her regret. You need your rebirth. And that starts by tearing down the parts of you that made her treatment possible in the first place. Look at yourself honestly. What part of you allowed the disrespect? What insecurities blinded you? What fears made you tolerate inconsistency, breadcrumbs, avoidance, coldness, silence? You rebuild by becoming the man who would never entertain that again. You turn your pain into structure. You break the emotional codependency. You train your mind like a fortress. Discipline becomes your default, not because you're angry, but because you've accepted that your time is too sacred to offer it to someone who played with it. The gym isn't therapy, it's architecture. Every rep is a declaration. I'm building what she couldn't break. But not just physically. You go deeper. You restructure your finances. You repair the cracks in your routines. You study success like a craft. You work like someone who's been humiliated and won't let that ever happen again. Not to prove something, but because you finally see how precious your potential is. That version of you that begged for answers, that chased for clarity, that waited for texts, that replayed conversations in your head all night, that man is buried. And in his place stands someone she wouldn't even recognize. Not because you're wearing designer clothes now, not because you finally got your body back, but because you don't care anymore. Not in a bitter way, in a healed way. The version of you that needed her to validate your worth has been replaced by the version who already knows it. And here's what happens next. She feels it. Not from a message, not from a post, from your absence, from your evolution, from the whisper of your name in a room where people now respect you. You want to rebuild without revenge. Stop sharing your moves. Stop broadcasting your transformation. Let your new discipline make noise without you opening your mouth. You don't need her attention. You need your silence. And that silence is filled with energy redirected into your purpose. You level up emotionally. You no longer argue. You no longer explain. You no longer attend every emotional invitation thrown your way. You let your life become so fulfilling, so structured, so driven by intention that her memory becomes a footnote, not the plot. And when she does reach out, because make no mistake, silence and growth trigger curiosity, you don't lash out, you don't gloat, you don't punish, you're not cold, you're distant. And not because you're trying to teach her a lesson, but because you no longer relate to her world. The pain taught you too much, and you've evolved past explanations. That's real power, not rage, not retaliation. Distance built on discipline, rooted in clarity, protected by purpose. That's what makes her regret real. That's what makes her look at your life and realize she doesn't fit anymore. Not because she was never good enough, but because you stopped shrinking yourself to make her comfortable. Rebuilding without revenge means accepting that sometimes the best closure is becoming someone they'll never get access to again, and the best revenge, no revenge, just reinvention. Number 5, let your success haunt her. Letting your success haunt her doesn't mean showing off. It means leveling up so far, so strategically, so permanently that she sees you everywhere without ever having direct access to you again. You don't do it for her. You do it because you finally realize that chasing her validation was the very thing that kept you small. You don't need her regret to feel powerful. But when you become undeniable, when the man she ghosted now commands rooms, earns attention, moves with clarity, and no longer flinches at silence, that's when she sees what she lost. And she doesn't just see it, she feels it. Not all at once, but gradually. It starts when her name no longer triggers you, when your emotions stop reacting to the ghost of her memory, when her presence in a room no longer affects your breathing, when you stop checking her updates, when she stops being the first person you think of when you win, because now you win for you. And the haunting begins quietly. She sees your face in places she didn't expect. Your name gets mentioned in conversations she's not even part of. Friends talk about your recent move, your new discipline, your emotional shift. And every word becomes a mirror that shows her what she never truly understood when you were available. Value. You've stopped existing in the shadows of her silence. You now live in the spotlight of your own making. The things you used to imagine doing with her, you now do alone, with power, with purpose, with poise. That restaurant you talked about trying with her, you book it for yourself. That vacation you dreamed of taking together, you take it solo, and the photos radiate peace, confidence, and untouchability. You walk differently now, not like someone pretending to move on, but like someone who actually did. Because your success is not revenge, it's revelation. You didn't have to tell her anything. You became someone who shows everything through how you carry yourself, how you think, how you spend your time, how you protect your energy. And this isn't fake. This isn't a mask. It's the result of healing without the need for permission, of choosing your future over her attention. That's what makes her reflect. Because success doesn't haunt through noise, it haunts through contrast. The man she thought she'd always have access to is gone, and now, in his place, stands someone who she knows she'd have to qualify for if she ever wanted to come back. And deep down, she knows she no longer qualifies. That's the pain. That's the echo. You didn't replace her out of spite. You evolved so hard, so fully, that she doesn't even know how to talk to the version of you she sees now. You've grown sharper, calmer, more focused. Your boundaries are solid now. You say no without guilt. You don't overextend yourself anymore. You don't fall for flattery. You don't chase mixed signals. You're now the man who doesn't just demand respect, he commands it without raising his voice. And that haunts her more than any confrontation ever could. Because now she realizes she wasn't ready for you. Not because you were too much, but because she was too small for what you were becoming. And that success, it's not measured in money alone. It's in peace, in control, in the ability to walk away without bitterness, in the strength to never respond to disrespect again, in the clarity to choose better, think deeper, move smarter. You didn't just glow up, you woke up, and now everything you build radiates energy she no longer gets to consume, not even a taste. You post less, but every image screams growth. You speak less, but your silence communicates authority. You flirt less, but your presence pulls attention. You give less, but your value rises. Because that's what happens when you stop needing women to see you, and you start building a life they can't look away from. You don't ghost her. You elevate so profoundly that her only option is to remember you, not as someone she dated, but as someone she mishandled. And the most poetic part, you never had to say a word. That's how you let your success haunt her. If you're still watching, it's not by accident. It's because deep down, you know the version of you that tolerated silence, begged for answers, and shrank yourself for approval has to die today. And the man you're becoming? He doesn't chase closure. He builds power in silence, control in distance, clarity in discipline. The Stoic relationship blueprint is your weapon. It's everything no one ever taught you about walking away like a king and never folding again. It's linked in the comments. If you're ready to rewrite your story, comment "never again." Then like this video and subscribe, because there's a man out there right now begging for the answers you just found. Don't let him waste another year in confusion. This is the truth they don't want men to hear.